Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Rochelle and welcome to Rosie Fro. So if you're new, thank you so much for clicking on this video. And of course, if you like it, be sure to click the thumbs up button. Be sure to click the subscribe button for even more videos that you may like, and also share this content with your friends and your family. To those of you who have subscribed, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much for subscribing to this channel. Thank you for sharing this content. I've had so many people sharing my content and I'm really grateful to all of you. So let's get into this video. So today I wanted to do a little bit of talking, not a lot, I hope. But I really wanted to talk to those of you who are either wanting to go, no. Those of you who are either wanting to embrace your natural hair, or you're thinking about it, or you just started. And so I thought that I wanted to share with you, first of all, my experience, and also second of all, a few of the things that I've learned thus far around embracing your natural hair. So of course, I think this is a little bit of common knowledge, but nonetheless, there are two mainstream ways of embracing your natural hair. So the first one is, of course, you transitioning your hair, which means that you slowly move away from your heat and chemical usage on your hair, and then you transition into just allowing your natural hair to kind of flourish and to grow, and then to learn to take care of it in that way. And then of course we have the big chop. Now this method, I think, is just, it's for the brave girls and boys out there in the world. You basically chopping off like most of your hair, and in most instances it's you cutting off all of your damaged or chemically heat or chemically damaged hair. And that could mean that you either cut off majority of the hair, depending on how much of the heat and chemical damage you have in your hair, or it could mean that you cut off all. I know that some people go bald, which is amazing, and it's basically you starting with a clean slate. So I first want to talk about transitioning, because that's actually the journey I followed. I think before we just jump straight into transitioning, let me just note a disclaimer that I am not a hair expert and I do not do hair professionally at all, and all my opinions in this video are my own, and basically they come from my experience, as I've said before. If you're thinking about embracing your natural hair, the first thing I want to say is yes. Yes, do it, do it, do it. It's so exciting, it's so much fun, and you'll be amazed at the amount of freedom that you actually get to experience when you start to embrace your natural hair. So with that being said, let's talk about the tips I have for a transitioning girl. My first tip for a transitioning girl, and perhaps for a big chop girl as well, would be to practice patience. Practice patience. Say it with me. Practice patience. Like, I'm so serious when I say this, and this only comes from a place of like experience, my own experience. And when I started my natural hair journey, I was not particularly patient, which meant that there were many moments of frustration and discouragement that came with just feelings of hopelessness and helplessness, and I'm about to quit this natural hair situation, simply because I was unrealistic with myself in the beginning, and I didn't think that I would need to be patient with myself in trying to understand and to take care of and to learn about my hair, and also around the process, finding out which products work for you, finding out which styles work for you. It is really going to be so beneficial to you in the long run if you just okay yourself with having to be patient on this journey, and to just be kind to yourself in this entire process. It is new, and with every new thing comes, this whole experience of learning. So practice patience. My second tip to you would be to explore and to experiment. Explore different styles, explore different products, and experiment, on your hair. Not like in a very weird way where you're about to put chemicals on it, but in a safe and controlled manner. Please do experiment. This is a fun journey, and no one can really tell you what will and won't work for your hair, because as much as we have all of these categories that we place our hair into, no two people's hair is the same, are the same. Correct my grammar. So the other thing around and under the explore and experiment banner would be to experiment with protective styles, especially if you are a transitioning girl. And what this means is basically that you tuck your hair away so that it is not exposed to the elements. What you want to do is really just research a bunch of protective styles and try them. So I'll tell you what really worked for me when I was transitioning. The first thing was braids with fiber. So I braided quite a bit in the beginning, simply because I just didn't want to deal with the fact that my hair had two textures, which is what you'll experience when you're transitioning, which is like the regrowth of your natural hair, which will be particularly maybe a little bit thicker and curly or kinkier than the rest of your hair that is damaged and straight and limp. So I didn't really want to deal with those two textures, and so I braided my hair quite a bit with fiber. The other thing you can do is just braid your natural hair, just your hair as it is. After a wash day, just braid it up and carry on with your day. Slap on some earrings, some makeup, put on a doek, whatever you want to do, but just kind of protect your hair. And then the other style that really worked for me and that I had a lot of fun with was bantu knots. So bantu knots is basically when you section off parts of your hair and you twirl them around each other and you turn them into like this knot. And what you end up with is a whole head with a collection of beautiful knots. And even when you take those bantu knots out when your hair is completely dried, you're left with these beautiful, like soft, natural, heatless curls. And I enjoyed that part the most. And that's the cool thing about protective styles, by the way. They almost function as two styles. So the first style is the actual hair in its protective style, and the second style is when you take it out. So you take out your braids and you've got these beautiful waves, or you take out your bantu knots and you've got these curls. It's just so stunning. It's so much fun. And it will just distract you from the fact that your hair has two textures, giving yourself the opportunity to grow through this process and to just not touch your hair as much so that it can grow. So protective styles are going to be your best friend when you are transitioning. And then the third thing, a very popular thing if you don't know this yet, I would advise you to get a satin scarf or a satin bonnet or a satin pillowcase to sleep with or sleep on at night. And this will basically protect your hair from either getting dehydrated when it is rubbing against your cotton or your polyester pillowcase, and also just to avoid friction. So when you're sleeping on satin, silk, your hair basically just glides over that silk or that satin, which means that there are not as many chances for friction as there would be if you had slept on cotton or polyester or anything else that's not satin or silk. So if you don't have any one of these things, find a silk nightie in your cupboard, in your mom's cupboard, in your grand's cupboard. Just cover it over your pillowcase and sleep on it, or turn it into a doek and put it onto your head at night and sleep with it on. Okay, so the fourth thing I want to talk about, which is probably also a very important thing to think about and to consider, is for you to get into a good hair routine. And when I first started my natural hair journey and I was transitioning, I did not have any kind of a hair routine. And it was something that I had to grow into and that I had to learn about and to just allow myself to figure out. So I'll share with you what my routine was and what it still is, because I've kind of kept the same routine, which is very useful. So the first step in my hair routine is to do a pre-poo treatment. If you do not know what a pre-poo treatment is, you're in luck, because I just filmed a video on it and I'll link it up below, up above, wherever. I'll put it in the cards, so it'll be easy for you to access. Also, once I've completed my pre-poo treatment, I place either a plastic bag or a shower cap onto my head, and this definitely helps with just getting the oil to penetrate the strands of my hair. So you want to cover it up, leave it there for about 15 to 30 minutes. Just get the oil to saturate your hair. And after that, I go into the shower. You start your shampoo process. Now, when you're shampooing your hair, please do not take your hair out of the sections to shampoo it. Don't do that. Shampoo your hair in each section. So, for example, you've got your hair parted, blah, blah, blah. Here's your one section. You've applied your oil, it was in your bantu knot, and you're in the shower. So you untie the bantu knot, and you take the shampoo and you put it onto your scalp. And then you take your hands and you kind of work the shampoo into your scalp, under your hair, over your hair, you know, just to get to your scalp. You don't want to do this. You don't want to rub the hair against each other and against your scalp. It's just going to tangle the hair, and it's going to make it really difficult for you to detangle it as you go forward, which again may discourage you. So don't do that. Kind of keep the part and just, it's going to take a little bit longer, but I promise you it's going to be so worth it. So you're going to just wash the scalp under the hair, and you're going to press the product, the shampoo, through your hair, and you're just going to rinse that section, and you're kind of going to move on. Once you've completed all your sections, you can go back in with your fingers and just, you know, rub your scalp again over the sections of your hair, but you never want to do this motion. Please trust me, that's not what you want to do when you're transitioning. It's just going to really just tangle between the new hair and the older hair, and it's going to be difficult. So once you've completed your shampooing process, I normally go straight in with a deep conditioner. You can use the conditioner and a deep conditioner, whatever works for you, but I skip the conditioner and I go straight in with a deep conditioner. And when I deep condition my hair, I again work my hair in sections. And for this process, I now add a detangling with a comb. So I've got my sections, my hair is cleansed, it's beautiful, it's clean. I take a section and I apply my deep conditioner. And then I use my fingers to kind of work it through. And then I take my comb and I just comb that section through that has deep conditioner in it. Please do not comb your hair when it is dry. Make sure that you've got good product in it to just kind of help you with slipping the comb through your hair. So when you're going to detangle the section of your hair, you're going to use, or at least, you're going to start at the end of your hair and work your way up to the root. You're not going to take your comb and go straight from here and just try to get all the knots out. Don't do that. Start at the end of your hair and slowly move the comb all the way up until you get to the root, and then you can kind of move the comb all through the section to make sure that you've got all the tangles out of your hair. So now your hair is deep conditioned, it's detangled, you're feeling good. You're going to put a plastic cap or again a plastic bag onto your head, just again to allow your natural body heat to open up the strands of your hair so that the product can just get into your hair and you can get maximum moisture from your product. The other thing I want to say to you when you're deep conditioning is, please do not leave the deep conditioner on for longer than is instructed on your product tub or bottle or whatever on the label of your product. Do not keep it on for longer than it says you should. If it says 7 minutes, keep it on for 7 minutes. If it says 30, keep it on for 30. So you're going to get back into the shower or your basin and you're just going to rinse that out. So now you are ready to style. Now you're going to moisturize your hair. And you can do this in one of two ways. You can follow the LCO method or you can follow the LOC method. So L stands for liquid, O for oil, and C for cream. And C for cream. So liquid could be either your water or your leave-in conditioner, and oil will obviously be the oil of your choice, and then a cream, which will be either a sealing butter or curling cream or whatever works for you. So you're going to apply those products onto your hair in either the LCO way, which is your leave-in conditioner first, your cream second, and then a sealing oil. So preferably a thicker oil like black castor oil is very thick, it's very good for sealing. And then if you follow the LOC method, which is leave-in conditioner, oil, use a lighter oil in the middle. So either an almond oil or a jojoba oil or a little bit of olive oil, whichever one works nicely for your hair. Or you can just Google light oils for hair and you can use that in the O for LOC, and then C will be your cream or your butter, and that you'll use to kind of just seal in the moisture. Now, very important to note, because this was my thought when I started, like, how do I apply 3 products to my hair without it looking a mess? So what you want to do is also while you're going through this journey, be very mindful of the amount of product that you're using and the amount that your hair can actually handle. Everyone's hair, again, is different, so do what works for you. So once you've moisturized your hair, it's moisturized, it's cleansed, it's looking very beautiful, you're gonna go in and you're gonna do a protective style. You put in your bantu knots, you leave your house, you're feeling super cute, and then like probably around the 3rd or 4th day, once you've taken out your bantu knots, you'll notice that the curls won't be as defined, and that's when you can literally go back in, add a little bit more cream or oil, well, preferably cream or leave-in, and just twist your hair back up into a knot, let that dry, and you can literally wear that style for another 3 days, which means that you could wear a style for between 5 to 7 days without having to wash your hair again, which is also going to be very good for you as a transitioning girl, because you want to make sure that you're keeping your hands out of your hair as far as possible. So that will be your routine, or you can take some of whatever I've shared with you today and you can try it for yourself and just kind of work out the routine that's going to work for you. So the last thing I want to say to you, transitioning girl, is to okay yourself for the fact that you're going to have to cut off your damaged ends at some point or another. So of course there are the ends of your hair that is chemically or heat damaged no longer is curling, it's limp, and it's just sad, and that hair has to go. So just okay yourself for the fact that you're gonna have to trim it off eventually, and you can start slowly. You can start trimming off little bits at a time as the months go on, but you're gonna have to cut it. So don't think that you're gonna have to grow this. You're gonna grow this beautiful luscious head of hair and you're gonna be able to keep the ends. No, you're gonna have to cut it off. So just okay yourself for the fact that it's gonna go eventually at some point or another. And now very quickly for my brave people in the house who was about to just chop their hair off or shave it off. Most of the tips apply to you as well, and the first one of course is to practice patience. I know that when your hair is shorter than it was from the times that I've cut my hair, we can sometimes get very impatient with the growing process, and we feel like, oh, when's this hair ever gonna grow? And we almost obsess about you know, how long it grows or how quickly it grows, that we just forget to enjoy the process. So be patient with yourself as your hair grows again, and you can experiment with styles, wear a headband. Oh my goodness, you could wear a duck. So much fun, so much fun. You could wear a duck. There are so many things that you can do, so just experiment and allow yourself to just learn and grow and just move through this process. Get yourself some satin or some silk to sleep on or to put onto your head when you go to sleep at night, and this is really going to help you just to keep your hair healthy and moisturized. And it's a good time for you to start, even if you've cut your hair bald, it's a really good time for you to start and to get into a habit. The habit of making sure that your pillowcase or your button or your bonnet or your scarf is silk or satin. And then naturally too, getting a routine. So as your hair starts to grow, you need to think about how often you're going to wash it. You need to think about how you're going to style your hair when you wash it. So just get yourself into a routine already, starting, you know, from the beginning. And your routine may change as time goes along, and that's perfectly fine. Just make sure that you've got some time that you've carved out to just kind of pay attention to cleansing, moisturizing, and styling your hair. And then the last thing I want to say to both groups of people is, number one, get ready for the negative comments. Get ready for the negative people who may not support you on this journey, and that's okay. You don't need to fight them. You don't need to convince them that what you're doing is great and the right thing for you. You don't even need to take their comments. But let me say this other thing, that the amount of people who will support you and who are there to encourage you and who just want to say, Exhibit A like me, yes, girl. Just, you know, this grouping of people, the ones who motivate and encourage you, will be more than those individuals who are negative towards you and negative towards your decision or your hair. So just prepare yourself for the fact that they exist, but also allow yourself to ignore them. Ignore the negative comments and pay attention to the encouraging comments. Join a community of girls who are doing the same thing. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, subscribe to other girls' YouTube channels where you can learn and grow and be motivated and encouraged. And then the other thing I want to say is pay it forward. I know that perhaps for some of you this is only the beginning of your journey and you may feel like you don't have very much to give right now, but as you go along you're going to learn a few things, and those things could help others. So don't underestimate the importance of your journey, and encourage them, motivate them, just be there for them, just pay it forward. Now that you have received, it's your time to give. So that's it for me, and that's it for this video, and I hope that you have found it useful. Let me know in the comments if there is anything else that you would like me to talk about in terms of embracing your natural hair, and also share your stories with me. How did you start your natural hair journey? And share your tips and your tricks with me, and you know, let's share with each other and let's grow together. And if you have, I'm saying a lot of ands, if you've liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Remember to share it with your friends and your family, and remember to subscribe. Until next time, guys, bye.